Every morning across the nation, children wake up and grab breakfast before heading off to school. They're all different, but most in some way are affected by bullying. Bullying is categorized by intentional, hurtful words and actions. School counselor Valerie Singletary says kids learn to bully at a young age.
Bullying affects children socially, emotionally, and physically. Children see adults in that role that because they're larger, they have more power.
Secondary education major Justin Welts is preparing to enter the field of teaching. He knows he'll soon have to face the issue of bullying. When he was in school, he experienced both sides of bullying.
I'm not gonna lie, I did used to pick on people, but I like to think that I knew there was a line, and a lot of what I did was more like self-preservation, because you can't just not pick on people if they're picking on you.
Hurting people hurt others, so children that are bullied bully others. Sometimes instead of not knowing socially how to interact, they tend to bully instead of trying to build friendships, because it's a form of protection. It's their defense mechanism from the hurt that they receive sometimes.
Retired teacher and assistant principal Meg Julian believes No Child Left Behind's emphasis on reading and math has led to an increase in bullying. Social studies, she says, is not receiving the attention it used to.
Part of your social studies curriculum was sharing, taking turns, how to get along. It's still in there, but it's not tested. And so we have lost a lot in children knowing how to deal.
When schools focus their attention elsewhere, Julian says social studies sometimes gets neglected.
It's not officially taken out, but it's unofficially taken out. And I have heard principals say, do not teach it. We don't have time.
Professor of Education Anne Marie Clark recently investigated and discussed bullying in one of her classes.
If it continues and it's not stopped, we know that the children who actually perpetrated the shootings in Columbine and Jonesboro and Bowling Green, Paducah, those different places, they've done the research and they found out that the ones who perpetrated the violence were victims of bullying.
Clark says, if unchecked, bullying is capable of leading the bullied to a devastating ending.
Yeah, they feel like they have nothing left to lose, so, what's in it for me? I'll go out in a bang, a flurry, and they'll remember me. I'll make a name for myself.
And another issue is also on the rise. For years, schools have dealt with bullying in the classroom, but with social networking's growing popularity, bullying over the internet is becoming an additional concern.
Well, if I see it or it's in my classroom, I will definitely stop it and try and stamp it out right there. But what scares me is all this cyberbullying and things like that as a teacher I can't really intervene, because how can I stop people from going on the internet when they're at home and writing really awful things about their fellow students?
I think that is a really big issue for public schools right now, to know what is it we notify parents of and how much responsibility do we take in this. Somebody has to.
Many have stories and experiences of their own. Counseling graduate student Mark Rasdorf held a candlelight vigil for the recent string of LGBT suicides. Rasdorf says most of the cases were linked with bullying, and for 13-year-old Seth Walsh, it was the primary factor.
His parents were very supportive of him. He was out to his family, but what he was going through at school, I think they even pulled him out of one school and moved him to another school. And he just was being tormented, and he hung himself in his backyard. And the really sad thing is it didn't work. And he was on life support for 9 days. And then his parents had to decide to pull the plug. What is publicly reported would seem to indicate that bullying had everything to do with that young man's decision.
When Julian was in elementary school, She recalls being a bystander and later bullying one of her classmates. They called him Crybaby.
I didn't understand at that point how much it could have meant to him to stand beside him and say, that's enough. I just didn't understand that. And I remember clearly thinking, this is so mean. Why am I doing this? I hate this. I don't like making him cry, but I still did it because I wanted to fit in and be liked by the other kids. And I've never really forgiven myself for that.
Julian later found out that the boy she made fun of cried because his mother died of cancer and his father couldn't support his children, forcing them to split up and live in temporary housing. Looking back, she wishes her teacher had put an end to the name-calling.
We weren't cruel, but we were cruel to him. I've wondered and wondered what's happened to him. I'd love to be able to apologize now, but no telling what permanent damage we might have done. And he was probably an awesome kid. We just never gave him a chance.
And then there's Ashley's story.
When I was in 7th grade, I rode the bus with 2 boys, and we were at the same bus stop. Then I also rode the bus with a girl who lived down the street named Tammy. She was my best friend.
Ashley Thompson is now an elementary education major. She says she remembers an incident that still affects the way she opens up to others.
One day, I found out that Tammy's house burned down and that she had passed away. And the mean boy made up a song about how Tammy died and nobody cared. And he sang that song to me until I was bawling. And luckily the bus was late and my mom was on her way to work, so she was able to pick me up and take me. I just can't believe that it happened still.
Many question just how bullying can be prevented. Clark believes it starts with teaching.
Well, in the classrooms that talk about respect, talk about being supportive of one another, it's less likely to occur. The teachers are on it. They're noticing how children treat each other.
Clark advises her students to address bullying as a serious issue.
That when they're out there, they need to teach the class not to be bystanders, to be more active, and to step in and say, hey, that's mean, don't do that.
And Julian feels there is power in numbers.
One person has to stand beside that kid and say, that's enough. One person has to have the nerve. And if they do it, this is what's so amazing to me. They do not lose their status in the social group. They are more respected. And I have seen that happen.
Both Julian and Clark believe children who choose not to bully are extremely important in putting an end to it.
Those children in the past have never been taught to understand that they have a role in what's going on. They're feeding the fire just by watching, even if they don't say anything. They're standing there watching it, and they're passively letting it occur.
Kids are all about fitting in. They're all about fitting in with the group. And kids who normally would not be bullies, who are very kind-hearted, will sit quietly and let it go on until they understand there is something I can do about it and still be liked. So that piece has to be taught. It just has to be taught.
Rasdorf encourages parents to step in.
Somebody recently, might have been Whoopi Goldberg on The View, said, yes, we as a society can try to change things, can try to change how we talk about things, can try to be more open to young gay people and, whatever the basis is that people are harassing other people. But a lot of bullying behavior is really about people's home.
He believes bullying should be a cause for disciplinary action.
Parents need to be aware of what their children are doing and call them on it and not let their sons or daughters get away with, texting, saying stuff on Facebook, writing things wherever, saying things to people's faces. But, collectively, we all have to respond to this.
Perhaps one day grabbing breakfast and heading off to school won't be scary. Perhaps we won't have to worry about our children making a rash decision, all in the name of bullying. But the consensus is unanimous. Our work is certainly cut out for us. I'm Emily Melton. Thanks for listening.
This is something that really has got to be attacked. We have to figure out who's responsible.
We need to learn more.
Somebody has to.